Good morning. I'm drinking some coffee. Is coffee an element, a compound, or a mixture? To answer to this question, let's look at today's lesson.
The content standard for this lesson is 6.2 Mixture. At the end of this lesson, you are able to communicate about examples of mixtures in daily life, solve problems of separating mixtures through activities based on the different characteristics of material and physical methods. What is a mixture? A mixture is made up of two or more elements or compounds that are mixed physically. When a mixture is formed, no chemical reaction takes place, and the chemical properties of a mixture are same as those of its components because no new substance is formed. A mixture may consist of elements, compounds, and combination of both. The components of a mixture are not fixed. They can present in any ratio. Muesli is a mixture. Muesli is made up of cornflakes, dried fruits, nuts, and oatmeal that are mixed together physically. No chemical reaction takes place during the formation of muesli. The chemical properties of the cornflakes, dried fruits, nuts, and oatmeal are still the same as before they are mixed together. This is because no new substance is formed. The components of a muesli are not fixed. They can present in any ratio. For example, you can add in more nuts or you can add in more cornflakes. And after you added in all these ingredients, there is no change in the name of this substance. It is still muesli. It won't become something else. Soil is another example of a mixture. Soil is made of particles of different sizes consisting of humus, clay, silt, fine sand, coarse sand, and gravel. These particles are mixed together physically to make soil. No chemical reaction takes place during the formation of soil. Other examples of mixtures are ais kacang, sandwich, air, mineral water, and seawater. Ais kacang is a mixture of ice, condensed milk, red beans, syrup, sweet corn, and glass jelly in any proportion. And sandwich is a mixture of breads, vegetable, and meat. Air is a mixture of gases, water vapor, dust, and microorganisms. Mineral water is a mixture of water and mineral salts. Seawater is a mixture of water, normal salts, and mineral salt. Water is a compound. Salt is also a compound. When they mix together, they become a mixture. How can a mixture be separated? As the mixture is formed physically, it can also be separated physically too. For example, a sandwich is made of bread, vegetable, and meat. Therefore, we can separate the ingredients easily through a physical method. There are many types of mixtures. Therefore, there are also many ways to separate the component in mixtures. These are some methods used to separate mixtures. Let's see one by one. Let's prepare a mixture of chalk powder and water. Add some chalk powder into the water and stir gently using a glass rod. Then, fold the filter paper twice. Open the fold into a cone and place it in the filter funnel. Place the funnel at the mouth of the conical flask. Slowly pour the chalk and water mixture into the funnel. How does filtration separate the water from the chalk? Water can pass through the filter paper, but the chalk powder cannot. The water passes through the funnel while the chalk powder is left on the filter paper. The water is called the filtrate, while the chalk powder is called the residue. Many filtration systems are based on this principle. There are many types of filters to clean and purify water passing through them. Distillation is another method used to separate a mixture. Distillation is the method used to separate a completely miscible liquid-liquid mixture or solid-liquid mixture that have different boiling points. How can you get pure water from seawater? The seawater is boiled so that the water will vaporize. The vapor goes through the condenser, where it is condensed to become water again. The water that drips into the conical flask is pure and free of any other substance. This method is called distillation. Another method to separate solids from liquids when the solids have dissolved in liquid is by evaporation. Dissolve the salt in the beaker of water using the glass rod. Pour the solution in an evaporating dish. Now, we will separate the salt from the solution. Heat the mixture using a Bunsen burner. What happened to the mixture of salt and water? As the salt and water mixture is heated, the water turns into water vapor. The salt is left behind in the evaporating dish. This method is called evaporation. Magnetic attraction can be used to separate two solid mixtures in which one of the substances is magnetic and the other is not. Iron, nickel, and cobalt are examples of magnetic metals. Gold, bronze, and aluminium are examples of non-magnetic metals. Non-metals such as glass, paper, wood, ceramics, and latex are non-magnetic materials. In the mixture of iron filling and sulfur powder, iron filling that has magnetic property is attracted to the magnet and separated from the sulfur powder. Sedimentation method is used in separating a liquid and insoluble solid mixture. The insoluble denser solid particles in a solid liquid mixture are allowed to settle down at the bottom due to gravity. Take some muddy water in a beaker. It is a mixture of soil and water. Stir this mixture well and leave to settle for half an hour. The mud settles down at the bottom of beaker by the process of sedimentation. Flotation method is used for separating substances according to their relative capacity for floating on a liquid. Flotation method involves separating substances by whether they sink or float. Two immiscible liquids with different densities are separated using flotation method. Immiscible liquids are liquids that do not dissolve in one another. They do not mix together. A separating funnel is used to separate immiscible liquids. Non-miscible liquids do not mix. For example, water and oil. Pour a mixture of water and oil into a separating funnel. Allow the liquid to stand for a few minutes to allow the two liquids to form two separate layers. Then, turn the tap on to allow water, which is at the bottom layer, to flow into an empty beaker. When the oil reaches the tap, turn off the tap. Then, collect oil into another empty beaker. The flotation method separates liquid with different densities and do not mix with each other. Chromatography method is used to separate small amounts of substances from a mixture based on the differences in solubility of the components in a particular solvent. Chromatography method is normally used to separate two or more components that dissolve in the same solvent in a very small amount. This method is usually used to check document flow by separating the colors from the ink used. This method also allows us to identify if there are any harmful food colorings present in our food. Sieving is used to separate a mixture of solid and solid with different particle sizes. For example, a mixture of sand and seashells can be separated this way. The sand particles are smaller than seashells. The sieve is made up of mesh full of holes. This mesh allows the sand to go through the sieve, but stop the bigger seashells. The seashells are then separated from the mixture. This is called sieving. Some sand and salt have been mixed together to form a mixture. Sieving, filtration, evaporation, or distillation alone cannot separate the mixture. How would you separate the salt from the mixture? Mix the sand and salt with water. Then stir using a glass rod until the salt dissolves. Carry out filtration to separate the sand from the salt solution. Carry out evaporation to separate the salt from the water. So, altogether, there are three processes involved: dissolving, filtration, and evaporation.
Coffee is a mixture. The ingredients in the coffee mix together physically. If I add in more sugar into the coffee, it is still coffee. It won't become tea or any other drinks. This is because the formation of mixture does not require a fixed ratio. That's all for today's lesson. Thank you.